Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I am here to make this video to talk about scoop culture. Now, ever since the finale of WandaVision, it's been kind of crazy. There's a lot of people disappointed, there's a lot of people angry. Clearly, I've got people in my comment section talking about how it's trash, like simply, almost exclusively, because of the ending. Now, there are people who don't like it because they don't think it went far enough. I talked about that in one of my other videos. But this video is really here to talk mostly about, now there are other, like I said, there are other people who don't like it for many of other reasons, which is fine. But I'm just going to say this up top. WandaVision is unequivocally a huge success. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, 80-something, like 84% audience score, which was to be expected for something that was going to be so weird and out there. High IMDb score, about got like an 8.5 IMDb score. It's got a good Metacritic, like it's good. It's got good ratings all around. The most popular show in the weeks that it was running. It's still the most popular show as of right now. It's still the top show. There's, you know, until Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out. So overall, there is no, like, WandaVision was a massive success. Now, it's funny, like, because I see a perspective out there that people are trying to, like, actually put out there that this was, like, a failure. And then you go and look at the ratings, and then you go and look at how much people were talking about it. You look at how popular it was. You look at the scores, which are in the 90s, so clearly most people enjoyed it. And then you go look, even when you go and look at the reviews of WandaVision, the worst reviews of it that you see from subjective people is something like Chris Stuckman, who gave it like a B+, which isn't great, but a B+ is still a good score from Chris Stuckman. So, you know, it's very interesting to see the narrative that people are trying to spin out there. But the thing is, like, the reason people spin that narrative is because Marvel has set a very high bar for quality. Marvel doesn't make bad movies. They don't make bad films. The MCU, Marvel Studios, doesn't make bad movies. They don't make bad films. And this is very, very far from a bad show. Is it the best thing the MCU has ever done? I do not believe so. But is it one of the most creative, most unique things the MCU has ever done? And something that I'm going to go back, and I've been currently trying to watch it over again because of how unique and fun it was. The whole aesthetic, I watched the making of it, and it just made me enjoy it even more. So, but you guys already know how I feel about WandaVision. But I'm here to talk about scoop culture and scoop culture and fandom at this very moment, because it's kind of crazy right now. Now, it should have saw a precursor to this when Mandalorian was coming out, because there was a lot of people talking about a lot of things happening that did not happen. Of course, they did sneak that Luke Skywalker thing in there without any scoopers really getting on that, so that was pretty cool. But there's a lot of people who were like saying that this is gonna happen, saying that all these different things, all these different rumors, all these different stuff circling the Mandalorian. And some of it turned out to be true and some of it didn't. But at the time, it wasn't that bad because, you know, everyone was seemingly on board with the show. And, you know, it was such a throwback that it seemed like people were willing to just accept that they just have fun with Star Wars, to have good Star Wars again. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. But there was a lot of scoops about that too. Now to be preference this, there has always been scoops surrounding Marvel. There's always been major things surrounding Marvel. And there's always been people who are wrong with their scoops surrounding Marvel. But the difference is, WandaVision is the first time that the scoop culture, that people like, you know, that Charles Murphy and Dan Rickman and all these other people, you can even throw terrible Grace Randolph in there if you want to. It's the first time that those people's scoops / things started to actually affect the way that other fans felt about a show, about a property. Because the problem is, in the past, when people were doing these scoops and stuff, there was stuff happening immediately right in front of them. Like, Marvel's doing stuff. Like, constantly doing stuff. So even when people got these scoops about things that might be in advance, you might talk about it, but you're too busy talking about what's right in front of you. And when Marvel took that year off, and a lot of these projects were pretty much damn near done, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision were pretty much damn near done, at least they were well in production, you know, on the road to being done. when the whole pandemic hit. So it kind of like, so all these scoopers, they didn't have a product in front of them to talk about. So all these scoopers basically had a field day during that year stretch and just kept coming up with scoops. Well, not coming up with scoops, but just digging even deeper for scoops because they don't got anything to talk about. So they're digging even deeper for stuff to talk about. They're digging even deeper for stuff to put on their, on their sites and whatnot because there's nothing right in front of them. And I would say the scoop culture was healthy, was generally healthy right up until the pandemic. But after the pandemic, the scoop culture became so rabid to survive because it's really hard to talk about stuff that's not coming out and we don't know when it's coming out and they're not going to tell you when it's coming out. So they started digging and digging and digging and digging, and eventually it led to them hyping up the fandom, because eventually it led to them, the things they're throwing out there, like the whole things about mutants and the things about Magneto and the things about Mephisto and all these other things that were talked about eventually started to seep into the minds of a lot of the fandom of the MCU because they didn't have anything except these scoopers. So I feel like the MCU fandom, a lot of them anyways, started to lean into the campfire and listen to these scoopers even more so than they have in the past because there was nothing in front of them. And then when WandaVision finally came out, they had been listening to these scoopers who are more like, who, I don't mean no disrespect to any of them, to say the least, but, well, I guess I do mean a little disrespect to them, but these scoopers are more like fucking, radical, religious group, like a radical religious group, been preaching to them that this is what's gonna happen for you months on at a time, and preaching that this is what's gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen, and all of a sudden the fandom has a moment where either they have to question what they've been told or they have to be angry at the product for not giving them what they've been told, and it's led to this divide of people who are like, oh, I guess those scoopers were freaking wrong, and people who are like, no, something's off. No, what are you doing, Marvel? This is what I was promised. This is what you owed me. I'm disappointed. You didn't give me this, this, and this. Nothing that was ever fucking, guaranteed to them. And I gotta admit, Josh on the Den of Nerds seems like he is really, really leaning into that too. I can't really even listen to the dude sometimes. It's just like, what do you mean that this didn't happen? And the problem with the scoop game too, especially right now, like I said, this has always been a thing, but it's never been this, bad before because of how many people were listening to them. Now, perhaps this is a good thing. Perhaps what happened in WandaVision is a good thing because it'll mean that people will stop listening to these scoopers so, everything they're saying is correct. But at the same time, the problem with the scoop people, like Grace Randolph and stuff like that, is that when they're wrong, they can just take a step back. They'll just take a step back and say, oh, well, they changed it. It's like, okay, so they changed it. Literally Matt Shaffer, I think that's his name. Literally, Matt Shaffer went on and said that I hadn't even heard of Mephisto. We weren't planning on doing a Mephisto in this show. We weren't in the show, and people don't fucking believe him. Literally, they did the whole fucking Evan Peters cameo before COVID ever started. So that just tells you right there that's no, man, this was not supposed to be a bigger thing. We did this before it ever even started. So it's one of those things where right now people have been, thirsty, just wanting something. So they started to lean in and believe what these scoopers were saying. Scoopers were always taken with a grain of salt. And then this pandemic happened and all we were left with were these scoops to get anything. And all of us were these scoopers to get anything. And we started to lean in and listen to them too much. I'm okay with fan speculation. I'm alright with that. I'm okay if you were disappointed in the show and you didn't like the direction it went in, you didn't like the direction it was going in anyways. Even if those scoops were correct, you weren't gonna be okay with the show. There are problems you have. That's fine. Not everything's gonna be for everyone. But what I can't stand is the idea that you guys listen to all this shit that these scoopers been shoveling to you, listen to it, turned out not to be right, and then you're like, well, I'm disappointed. And then it's like, well, did the director say he was gonna do that? No. Did Kevin Feige say that was gonna happen? No. And then you're like, well, what the hell where'd you get that information from? Well, this scooper said that he had an exclusive. Don't take it all with a grain of salt. Now, like I said, I do have a problem with a lot of those scoopers because a lot of those scoopers do put a lot of this stuff out there like it's a legit thing, and they'll put the rumor thing on there, but the way they'll present it and the way they'll word it is as if it is legit. because, you know, they want to get it right. And like I say, there's a couple of guys who will take it on the chin and be like, yeah, I got that wrong. But like I said, I feel like either this is going to be a bad thing or a good thing. I don't think it's going to really affect the MCU either way, because the MCU is too big to fail now. Like they're too big to fail, and they make too much good product for the mainstream audience to fail. So fandom is, you know, no matter if you like WandaVision or not, it's not gonna change a damn thing because they're too big to fail now. They're too good. They're too big. It's like Michael fucking Jordan in his prime. There's nothing you can do. Just hope for injury, but it will become like this annoying like thing going on now that, you know, either people are gonna be, you know, more upset about this scoop culture, and like people are gonna, like, hopefully fans and whatnot have their ears up, and now they're like you know, aware that when you see something, it may or may not be true. Because to be honest, a lot of those scoops that may or may not be true, like if unless I see it from a Hollywood Reporter or Deadline, I really don't believe it anyways until I see it with my own eyes. I don't. That's why I don't, like, if you notice something about my channel, I don't make a lot of videos about rumors. I really don't. Because unless I feel like it's a possibility, or I feel like, you know, where there's smoke, there's, you know, fire, there's a lot of people talking about it, I might talk about it. But even then, I'm like, I don't know about this. Like for instance, now there's rumors that the whole Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield thing, that ain't real. That's not real. That's not a thing that's actually going to be in the movie. And you got people like Josh on Dinner Nerds who are already upset about some shit that was never confirmed to begin with. And that is the problem with scoop culture. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe. And do you have a problem with scoop culture? Do you think that what happened with WandaVision is just an example of like scoop culture out of control? Or do you think this is just how things work? It's okay, it doesn't matter, everything will clear up? I tend to think that Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be so direct that it's going to be able to leapfrog all that scoop culture shit because it's so direct. Like, yeah, he plays like a show, it's going to have a bit of mystery, but it's not going to be like WandaVision, where it could be anything, where WandaVision was so unique and so creative, it could have been anything, and you'd have been like, okay. Like, Falcon and Winter Soldier, you got a good vibe with it. Thank you guys for watching the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.